In 2025, Crystal Palace stunned England. A club built for survival lifted both the FA Cup and the Community Shield. But how did the Eagles outsmart the Premier League giants? Let's find out. Everything started with Crystal Palace legend Dougie Freedman. He spent 8 seasons at the club in the 2000s and was a true team leader. After retiring, Dougie took over the Palace youth team and 2 years later became assistant coach with the first team. Finally, in 2011, Freedman himself led the Eagles into battle. At first, the seas were rough, but Dougie convinced co-owner and key strategic decision-maker Steve Parish to sign the missing pieces. Parish, himself a lifelong Palace fan, had initially vetoed it, but ended up allocating a wage budget for the newcomers, and Dougie integrated them brilliantly. Mile Jedinak, Yannick Bolasie, and Damien Delaney arrived for peanuts and delivered the needed quality on the pitch. Results in the championship picked up. The Eagles were playing so convincingly that there was little doubt if they started the next season with the same momentum, promotion to the Premier League was inevitable. Then, something unbelievable happened. Right in the middle of the 2012-13 campaign, Freedman suddenly walked out on Palace and joined Bolton. What made Dougie leave a comfortable post where fans adored him and the board trusted him? The coach later admitted that interest from several clubs went to his head, and he regrets the rash decision. The team was decapitated. It seemed a disaster, a season beyond saving, but the foundation laid by Freedman held. The players weren't leaning on clever tactical tricks. Those were a weak spot anyway, with Palace's possession hovering around 40%. They played old school, long balls into channels. What brought success were unity, hard work, and commitment. Week after week, they marched toward promotion in spite of setbacks. The new boss, Ian Holloway, preferred total control of the ball. His ideas didn't take root at Selhurst Park. It got to the point that, after a run of poor results, the players persuaded Holloway to return to Freedman's simple templates. That's how the team finished 5th. And then the incredible. In the playoffs, the Eagles first pecked the Seagulls, knocking out arch-rivals Brighton, and then beat Gianfranco Zola's Watford in the final. After 8 years, Palace earned the right to play among England's best again, and that's directly down to Freedman. He took the team at a turning point and forged a battle-ready outfit. In August 2017, 4 years into their Premier League stay, the board decided to bring the Scot back, not as coach, but as sporting director. Freedman was known for his communication skills, and his coaching stint showed he could spot smart, targeted signings. The Palace-Freedman love story continued. Appointing Freedman as sporting director was fateful, the starting point of a project whose fruits the Red and Blues are enjoying now. Not a quick success, but a steady, logical one. The board's logic was, since fighting for anything beyond mid-table isn't realistic, let's try to avoid slipping into a relegation scrap and put talent sales on a conveyor belt and live off that. Freedman's remit covered long-term squad strategy and recruitment. In effect, Dougie became the system's architect, with the bricks being young, ambitious players. Another aspect of the job was selecting coaches who fit the club. In August 2017, the team was briefly led by the ill-fated Frank de Boer. After 4 dreadful league games, he was replaced by 70-year-old Roy Hodgson, for whom Palace also meant something. Uncle Roy came through the Eagles system. Dougie knew it was risky to sign only young players in the summer. They also needed seasoned pros to lock in results. Parish and Cummers loosened the purse strings by their standards. From Liverpool, Mamadou Sakho arrived for £28 million. At the same time, they recruited prospects, like the then 22-year-old Alexander Sørloth from Midtjylland for £16 million. And in Freedman's very first season as sporting director under Hodgson, Palace got what they wanted, an 11th place finish, and the key players, including academy products, started drawing attention from big money clubs. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Wilfried Zaha were among that group. Hodgson ran the team for 4 long seasons. Remarkably, Palace not only cemented themselves in mid-table under him, but also made serious money. In 2019, they sold Aaron Wan-Bissaka to Manchester United for a club record €55 million. Some of the signed-to-develop newcomers were loaned to smaller clubs that covered wages and gave them minutes. They'd come back to Selhurst Park hardened. Sørloth, who hadn't scored a single Premier League goal for Palace, was sold on to Leipzig for more than he cost after showing a scoring touch on loan at Ghent and Trabzonspor, enough to catch Red Bull's eye. Others progressed under Hodgson too. They snapped up Eberechi Eze from QPR for a modest fee. He had only a championship resume and a reputation as a mobile dribbler, nothing more. Few imagined that 5 years later, Arsenal would drop £70 million on Palace's new attacking leader, filling the South Londoners' coffers with the most expensive transfer in club history. Another example, the maturing Mark Guéhi. Though it seems the Eagles may have missed out on a fee, Liverpool are now expected to take him next summer as a free agent. And of course, there's the most successful recent case, buying and then reselling Michael Olise. In July 2021, they spotted the Franco-Englishman at modest Reading and paid under €10 million. The young winger came not to Hodgson, but at the request of his compatriot Patrick Vieira. 3 years later, one of the league's most dazzling creative dribblers, left for Munich for 53 million euros and instantly became a star, posting a cosmic 20+23 across all competitions. And you know what else happened in 2021? John Textor joined the ownership group, buying 40% of the shares. This American would later play a part. Under Hodgson, a trend had appeared, using active, versatile wide men in attack who could drift inside as inverted wingers and switch flanks easily. Old Roy couldn't stretch beyond his ceiling. He's a wily veteran, but a dated one. The squad needed someone with ideas on blending the creativity of inventive wide men with cohesive team play, including off the ball. That's how Vieira appeared in South London. He'd already built a side around wingers at Nice. Before the Frenchmen, Palace were one of the league's most defensive teams, sitting in a low block and countering. Vieira shifted them toward more proactive possession, short passing, progression through the middle, and overloads in the half spaces. A clear step into modernity, but he also knew when to be pragmatic against top clubs, dropping back into a low block. Familiar faces began to shine. Mitchell and Klein attacked down the flanks. Gallagher and Eze arrived as late runners. The rapid Zaha used runs in behind as his main weapon. Crucially, Palace's more proactive style highlighted their attackers' strengths, making the football more watchable, boosting the frequency of highlights, and in turn, raising the valuation of future transfer assets. There were competitive ambitions too. In the league, they couldn't climb above 11th, but Vieira scaled a new height in the FA Cup. Palace thrashed Lampard's Everton and reached the semi-finals of the world's oldest tournament for the first time in 27 years. Problems remained, of course. The team was inconsistent and often dropped points through late lapses in concentration. Finishing was shaky. The Eagles were underperforming their expected points, but the bosses banked on regression to the mean next season and miscalculated. What first looked like a Europa places push turned into a long winless stretch. The attack misfired, output halved, and they went 3 months without a victory. In March, Vieira was dismissed. While the club searched for a long-term replacement, the unsinkable Hodgson returned as caretaker. Eventually, a year and a half ago, February 2024, the bosses chose Oliver Glasner, a cup specialist. In the Premier League's brutal arms race, a league campaign is too heavy a lift. Fight the long war with richer clubs and you still lose. But in short format tournaments, you can tumble with anyone through total focus and tailoring to each opponent. That's what made Glasner famous at Eintracht. He won a European trophy and reached the DFB Pokal final. The Austrian instantly grafted Bundesliga principles onto Crystal Palace's game. High intensity, especially in transitions, ferocious counter-pressing, and rapid snapbacks after losing the ball. His shape varies with the opponent, the game plan, and the scoreline. Only one thing is constant: a back three, giving a reliable shield behind. The system's flexibility comes from the wing-backs, the key figures in the Austrians' football. They're so mobile, they let teammates bounce passes off them anywhere on the pitch. Last season, by average field position, Palace's wide pair took the second highest line in the league. Only City were higher. If the flanks are shut and you can't attack there, no problem. In the center sits the excellent Adam Wharton, a young conductor bought from Blackburn a year ago. He plays deep and hits such precise line-breaking passes that his market value multiplied in months. Now we come to the climax, to the moment that split the Eagles' history into before and after. The crowning achievement of 4 men's work: a gifted sporting director, a brilliant coach, and players hungry for silverware. May 17th, 2025, a date Palace fans have tattooed on every available patch of skin. That day, the club won the first truly major trophy in its history. In the FA Cup final, having conceded just 1 goal in 5 matches en route, Glasner's red and blue band narrowly but deservedly beat Manchester City. Eze carved his name into history, scoring from a pass, of course, by wing-back Daniel Munoz. Watching from Wembley's Royal Box were Steve Parish, Josh Harris, David Blitzer, and John Textor. The latter, though one of the architects of the triumph, will be remembered more as the man who later personally cost his team a Europa League spot. The triumph was shared by all. In the stands was former sporting director Dougie Freedman, who had left London just months earlier for a Saudi club in the same role. As a cherry on top, in August, the Eagles shook Britain again, beating champions Liverpool on penalties to win the Super Cup. It feels fair to call Glasner the second best cup coach of our era after Emery. According to Swiss Ramble, the club's revenue has grown for 3 straight years, £190 million in 2024 to 25, for example. That growth isn't just from player sales. Key income streams have risen too, from sponsorships to ticketing. Palace reinvest what they earn. The only thing that spoiled the glow of this historic year was John Textor's curveball. Optimists can spin a positive. Why does Palace need the Europa League? The Conference League has weaker competition and offers a better shot at another trophy. Glasner's third with the Eagles, perhaps. What do you think of Crystal Palace's success? Let me know in the comments. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Check out my other videos, like managers who were one-season wonders, and how Freiburg became the Bundesliga's phenomenon, as shown on your screen. My name is Ole. Love this game. See you next time.